Many of you saw that this past Monday I actually posted a Crystal Beast deck profile on Team Samurai X1's channel. It was a more casual oriented build. It was using the new Trap card that came out and the new Rainbow Dragon card that came out, so it was pretty fun, but I wanted to build a more competitive version, and I know that some people from that video that subscribe to me are waiting to see this. So this is like the competitive Crystal Beast. It's not playing the Rainbow Dragon card at all. That's not really the competitive way to play it. And you might not know this, but if you go back, like way back into my early YouTubing, before I was playing like Volcanics or Frogs or Phantom Knights or anything like that, before Brilliant Fusion came out, I actually played Crystal Beast for a while. It was like, it wasn't very good, but I played quote-unquote competitive Crystal Beast for a good portion of my high school career or whatever. Didn't do very well in tournaments, but I had fun, and that's actually where a lot of these like high rarity Crystal Beast cards are from. Or way back then, I saved up a lot of my article writing money to buy max rated Crystal Beasts, and I still have them. So anyway, I played this deck for a while, and I kind of haven't. Right now, I think I've taken like a 2-year hiatus from playing it, mostly because I realized it's not that good. But these new cards are actually really cool, so I want to build a competitive version of it, see if it can still do stuff. I've also started going back to locals, and I think that I haven't been to locals in such a long time, but I've played in a couple this past couple weeks here, and I think that one of the things I miss is that you can play like decks like this and kind of do okay. But anyway, let's get into it. So we have 3 copies of Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus. If you ever played Crystal Beast before, this probably isn't a surprise. Sapphire Pegasus is by far the best card in the entire deck. It does everything you want it to. It's a card that you want to resolve as many times as possible. It's not a hard once per turn effect. It can even put itself in the back row when it's summoned, so it's really, really good. And now we have like 9 ways to search it, so it's really cool. 3 copies of Carbuncle. If you were around in ye olden days, see my videos, you might know that I was like the biggest complainer about this card, because even back then I realized that like level 3 monster in a deck of level 4s is terrible, and like a 300 attack monster is terrible. Even way back then I could recognize that the only thing that was good about this card was the effect, and sometimes it's not enough because you would like draw multiples. It was pretty bad. But anyway, we have a lot of new cards that can actually take advantage of this. We have ways to search Beacon now, so it's like really good. Yeah, it's okay at 3. I still wish like it had better stats or like relevant attack, but can't win them all, I guess. It's Crystal Beast. So next up, we have 2 copies of Crystal Beast Topaz Tiger. It's like the beater of the deck. I guess it has 400 more attack than Pegasus when it attacks a monster. Yeah, I mean, it's all right. It's the Crystal Beast monsters aren't very good. Like Pegasus is really good, and then like Carbuncle is like much worse because of its stats, and then like everything below that is like really terrible. So 2 Topaz Tiger and 2 Cobalt Eagle. Cobalt Eagle is like marginally better than like playing 3 Topaz Tiger and 1 Eagle, just because so we're playing some Link monsters that need like different names like Skull Dread, but also Cobalt Eagle is a wind monster, so you can make Lightning Chidori with it, which is really cool. So we're playing just those for the Crystal Beast. Seeing we're not playing the Rainbow Dragon card, we don't have to play Amber Mammoth or the Tortoise or the Cat, so we don't have to play those cards. We can just play these ones, which are like the 4 better ones of the 7 available. Now, because this is a competitive deck, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Ash Blossom and 2 copies of Ghost Ogre. I mean, if you can't afford these cards, I think you're in luck, because they're going to be reprinted next week, so you should be able to afford them, and hopefully people don't have to ask me about Ash Blossom replacements anymore. If you still can't afford them even after next week, even though I don't think they're going to be that expensive, I suppose you could play Veilers and stuff. But if you're like not playing these cards, you're trying to build like a competitive version, you probably should just play like a more fun version that summons Rainbow Dragon, because it's going to be hard to win without these. But yeah, they are all getting reprinted in next week on March 9th, I think. And so you hopefully will have access to these cards depending on when you make the deck. So those cards are really good, obviously, in any deck, including this one. For the spells, we have 3 Rainbow Bridge. This card's stupid. It's like the simplest card ever, and that's what makes it so great. So it just searches a crystal, spell, or trap card from your deck to your hand. It's a non-once per turn effect, so if you open 3, you can search 3 times. I can't believe they gave that. I think it's really awesome that they let it not be once per turn. It's just like a lot of new cards that they make are once per turn, even in bad decks like this. But man, this card's so good. You can just search anything. So basically means every single crystal card you have in your deck, you now have 2 or 3 more copies of, because these cards all essentially count as like the same card. If you have like a 1 of in your deck, now you have like 5 copies of it, or 4 copies of it. 3 Crystal Bond. Now this one is a once per turn, but I mean, you have to play Crystal Bond. This card's really stupid too. So this is what I was talking about earlier. So basically you activate it, you place a Crystal Beast monster from your deck to your back row, and then add a differently named one. So depending on your hand, you're either going to place Carbuncle if you have Promise, or you're going to place like usually Topaz Tiger or another, or like I guess Eagle sometimes, but usually Topaz Tiger if you have beacons. And then you summon the Sapphire Pegasus, put another Sapphire Pegasus, and then you beacon for Carbuncle, summon Pegasus and Topaz Tiger, and then place another something with the Pegasus. That's like a pretty cool swinging card advantage. This is basically the Fright for Patchwork of the Crystal Beast, and we got it without waiting for like 5 years. So that's cool. Next we have 3 Crystal Beacon. This card's absurd. This card's always been good. Before like these new cards came out, I always just said that this was like the best reason to play Crystal Beast, because it is pretty cool. It's just like an emergency teleport, but you can get a pretty big swing in card economy if you special summon 2 Pegasus from your back row by summoning a Carbuncle from deck, because then the Pegasus trigger, and that's really cool. So yeah, Beacon, still really solid. Now we can search it. I got those cool Hobby League ones that you probably can't play at a tournament. I play 3 Crystal Promise. Some people get mad at this. I don't know why. I mean, I think this card is good at 3. It's like, it's kind of like a Monster Reborn in some ways. So, yeah, I like it at 3. You can probably play 2 if you really want to. Sorry about the rarities on these, because I've never played 2 of this card. We are playing 2 Crystal Tree, so with these new cards, I tested a lot of different variants of the deck to see like how to make it quote-unquote competitive. And what I came up with was that the Turbo Abundance route was like now finally the right option. I've never thought that was the right option in the past, because Abundance, if you like build your whole deck around it prior to like this new set, it just was really inconsistent, because it was so hard to get 4 Crystal Beast monsters in the back row, and then you had to play like 3 copies of Abundance, and if you like didn't draw it, your deck was terrible. If you drew too many of them, your deck was also terrible. So I didn't think it was very good. But with the new cards, because you can not only like, so Rainbow Bridge can like search all the pieces you need, it can like search Abundance, but Crystal Bond is really, really effective at filling up your back row. And Crystal Bond and Crystal Tree is like a really good 2-card combo to just fill up your back row with like a million Crystal Beast monsters. So we're playing 2 of this card. This card definitely has diminishing returns if you open multiples, so we're only going to play 2. We are playing Pot of Desires, so I'm fine just playing 2 copies of it. In a similar vein, we are playing, well, once again, sorry about the thingy, the common, but yeah, so we're playing 2 Crystal Abundance because we're playing Desires. You should only need to resolve 1 of this card to win. This card's still really dumb when it resolves, so it's not that hard to resolve. It's actually pretty tough for your opponent to stop. Luckily, it doesn't get stopped by Ash Blossom. There's some like combo decks that I've made where like the main combo thing like does get stopped by Ash Blossom, but this doesn't. Sends everything for cost. It puts your opponent in a weird spot. As long as you can resolve this for like 4 monsters, you can usually just kill your opponent, which is really cool. We're going to be playing the 2 copies because of Desires. We're playing 2 copies of Crystal Blessing, not because of Desires, but because I actually think this card is really good in this variant, especially because you always just want your back row filled for Abundance, so that card's cool. 2 copies of Rainbow Ruins. I go back and forth on this card. Sometimes I say it's like really terrible, sometimes I say it's okay. Right now I think it's like it's decent. The reason I'm really playing this card is because you can easily get the 4 effect, and that gets you a free draw, and that's really good because a lot of the cards in this deck actually do something immediately when you draw them. Because we're not playing any trap cards, so anytime that you can resolve the draw effect in this card, it's really good. Sometimes you can get 5, although that doesn't really happen. Really, it's just like an Upstart Goblin, which is fine. 1 copy of Rare Value. Some people say like you should play like more of this thing. I don't think so. You really want to fill up your back row. You don't just want to send everything to the graveyard. So I mean, I can see people's logic, but there's no reason to play like more copies of that when you have access to Pot of Desires. This card is really, really good in this deck. We basically care about banishing nothing. You can just anytime, and because the deck has so much searching, you can like take at least like 1 Carbuncle and 1 Pegasus out of your deck before you do the Desires. Then you always have access to them. Yeah, this card's just insane because we have so many filler cards, so many 3-ofs. It's just such an insane card. And then lastly, Regeki and Monster Reborn. These cards are obviously good. Regeki's cool because if your opponent does have like 1 negation on board, the Regeki can like draw out the negation, and then you can just abundance them and win. So that's 40 cards. It's kind of, yeah, I mean, I don't want to really call it like Abundance Turbo, but like that's basically like your end win condition. So yeah, you just try to resolve Abundance and win the game from there, which is still good. It's still really hard. Not a lot of decks have cards like Abundance. Luckily, this one does. And yeah, not even a lot of rogue decks have cards like Abundance. Anyway, for the extra deck, we have Break Sword, Giga Brilliant. These are just what you make with the Carbuncles. They're like okay. Usually you make Giga Brilliant because like the attack boost is really cool. Diamond Direwolf because you can pop the Crystal Beast on field and go to the back row. Samurai to help OTK. Chidori because you can make it with Eagle and Pegasus. Dweller is really good right now. The Utopia and the Utopia the Lightning. Castel's pretty cool. The Baguska is kind of neat. You're really not trying to control the board, so Baguska isn't like super useful, but sometimes you can like brick a lot, so you just want to, like even when you brick, you can usually get 2 level 4s on the board, so you can make Baguska. For the links, we have Underclock Taker, Proxy Dragon, Decode Talker, Borreload Dragon. This card's probably the link that you'll make the most. You can just make it pretty easily. And a lot of times when you make these link monsters, you want to make them when you have Crystal Blessing in hand, so you can put all the guys in the back row again. And then 1 Skull Dread. We're not playing like Scapegoat to summon this thing, but like we are playing 4 differently named Crystal Beast monsters. They are really easy to get on board with all the I was gonna say the abundance of special summon effects, but no, but really, yeah, Beacon and Promise let you get this card really easily. You can sort of fix your hand if you want, and then you can just kind of go off with Abundance or whatever you draw, because almost all, like I said, almost all the cards in this deck can be activated immediately when you draw them. The only like actual once per turn effect is Bond. And other than that, though, like anything you draw, you can just use right away. So drawing 4 and putting back 3 is really good in this deck in particular. Anyway, yeah, that was my Crystal Beast competitive variant. If you want to see the Rainbow Dragon variant and you just want to play the deck casually, that's fine. That's on Team Sam's channel. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description if you want to check it out. Although I'm assuming many of you have already seen that. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.